I've been asked to do this by one of my students. I'm going to go ahead and go through it and basically set up a scope from start to finish. The only thing I'm not going to do on this video is a tall target test, but let's kind of talk about the rest. So as you can see, this scope is loose. First and foremost with the rings, I will loosen them and push them all the way forward. So the recoil lug of the ring is against the Picatinny rail recoil lug, and I'll snug it. I'll do the same thing on this one. And I just kind of put these in the center a little bit so that way the bell, or not the bell, but the center of the scope is kind of centering the rings. All right, first of all, let's kind of talk about this real quick. Set up your eye relief how you hunt. Now this gun, these two guns are going to be used at this Wounded Warrior event we're doing this weekend. So these guys are all shooting from the bench, so I will set this up for the bench. What does that mean? It means when I lean into the firearm, I want to have perfect eye relief, and I don't. So first of all, let me raise my seat up a little bit, because I like to lean into the firearm exactly how I would if I was shooting off of a bench. All right, here we go. So I'm going to lean into the gun. I'm going to glance and make sure you can see me. All right, and this is my eye relief. I want the magnification at full power, because when you change the magnification, it changes your eye relief a little bit. So I want it at full power, which gives me the smallest eye box. All right, so right now, there we go. I'm going to bring it back just a little bit. And I kind of move my head back and forth and find out if I need to pull the scope forward or back. So right there is perfect. So I got perfect eye relief. Now, if I was hunting from the prone position or hunting off of a tripod, then I would set this up. Even I can still use a bench, but I'm going to stand up and lean into the gun. And my eye relief right now is terrible because I'm that much closer to the scope how I hunt prone. But again, since this is not going to be set up for prone shooting, it's going to be set up for shooting off of a bench, then this is perfect. So I got my eye relief. I'm going to leave it snug. A lot of guys like to use the Wheeler level system and all that good stuff, and it's fine. I really like these wedges. You can get them from Amazon. So it's got a slot. This slides on top of the Picatinny rail between the bottom of the scope and the rail. And this has a little, I don't know if you can see it, square at the top. That lines up. So basically by sliding these two together, it's creating a square surface. Wiggle the scope until it stops. There's your square surface. I'm going to just briefly snug this. Now, since I just snugged that, I have a hard time pulling it out, so I'm going to kind of tap it out on the other side. So, and it's a little bit of a pretty snug. Let me get this knocked out real quick. Okay. All right, so now I can pull the whole thing out. Now, be careful. I try to do a cross pattern because you don't want the rings to actually cause your scope to tilt now since you just got everything square. Remember, if you use the top of the turret on some scopes, I've been doing this for years, I've seen that the turrets aren't exactly level, so you could actually be off. The bottom of the scope is normally level to everything inside of the scope. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. All right, so let me snug these up real quick. I'm going to use my calibrated fingers here. Yeah, right. Sound pretty good though, right? All right, so let me get this snugged up. All right, I'm doing a cross pattern right now. And again, these don't need to be ridiculously tight. There we go. That's 28.67 inch-pounds. You guys believe that, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna go through and just snug each one of them. Boom, almost done. And yes, the gun's empty. I just have the bolt half cocked. So, all right. And there. Now, next, double check it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the levels. Now, these levels are already set on the guns. And you can see I've got two of them, right? So, let me get this out of here so you guys don't freak out as I point this around. The reason this gun has two levels on it is I set these up in my class to be either be shot left hand or right hand, because you don't know who's coming to school. And some of the Wounded Warriors we're working with may only have a left arm or a right arm, so it's going to really help. All right, so at this point, I'm going to look down range. I'm going to find something that's vertical or horizontal, and I know that the 900-yard plate out there, the plate holder, is level. We've checked it with the level. So I'm going to put my crosshair straight across that pole. I'm gonna parallax or focus. Oh, we got a little wind out there, 1.8 mile an hour. And I can look at my level and I can see that that level is perfect. This one's not. That means it's been bounced around. So we're gonna loosen this one up a little bit. So what I like to do is put the crosshairs on something level and then move the level to level. Because I want the crosshairs and the level. I don't really care about the rifle being level to the bubble, because we already know the rifle's pretty close to level. All right, so that looks good. Crosshairs are right across it. And we are going to tap that until it's level. All right, let me snug it up. Now be careful on these levels. As you snug them up, it moves the bubble as well. It's just a pain in the butt. All right, everything's level. This thing's ready to go. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to pull out the Eagle Ballistic app, and I am going to build this gun profile, which is really easy in the EB app. All right, I gotta put the bolt back in. I'll explain that in a minute. Actually, what I'm trying to do is find the center firing pin, the center of the firing pin hole, which I know where it is. It's at the top of this lug right here. So we're gonna go to EB, and I've already got one in here, so I'm gonna hit gun number 3, and I'm gonna make a copy of it. Boom, there it is, it's highlighted. So that's for horn ammo. We're gonna be using the SIG 140 grain ammo out at the level 2, at the Wounded Warrior event. So I'm gonna name this SIG ammo gun 3, because this is gun number 3. All right, and I already measured the sight height, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it for you. We're gonna go ahead and click on it. I'm gonna go center of the scope to basically center of where the firing pin is. That's about as center of the barrel as possible. So it's 2.00, hit set. I'm now done, all right? Let me turn this off. So I'm gonna zero this at 100 yards. So if you guys give me a second, I'm gonna set up the camera. We're gonna go to 100 yards. We know it's gonna be off a little bit because we moved the scope. So let me get it started. I'll get the camera running and I'll be right back, so stand by. All right, so I got the long range camera running. At the same time, I am going to run the chronograph, and that way I can get the velocities at the exact same time. This gun was cleaned. I ran 6 rounds through it, so it's fouled. And let's go ahead and continue building our profile real quick. So let me start record on this. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the library and we're gonna select SIG ammo. And we're gonna get the, oh, this is not in there. We're gonna go to Sierra. This is Sierra ammunition. I'm sorry, it's Sierra bullets and SIG ammunition. We're gonna go to 264 caliber. You guys meant what I knew. We'll go to 140 grain Match King. Boom, it drops in a nominal BC. Now I've already got 2774 velocity, so I'm gonna leave it there for now. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is let's get some rounds down range and let's get our initial 0. Curious to see how much this zero's off. All right, I'm just going at the white paper and check my crosshairs for clarity, check my parallax. There's a staple, I'm gonna shoot at the staple. Man, 0. Well, that was pretty good. All right, let's try this again. I actually hit the edge of the staple. We'll try one more. All right. Guys, that's pretty good. Let me get a third one in there, because I'm just doing a third one basically because I want to get at least an average of the velocity for initial velocity. We know it's going to change. All right, I'm checking a level between shots. And I got 3 shots all touching. So at this point, we're gonna grab the chronograph and we're gonna use the center velocity, which I can't see, it's backwards, which is 2697.8. So we're gonna plug it in here, 2697.8, hit set. At this point, I'm gonna turn on my 0 angle lock or scope angle lock. We're pretty good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna run it out there in true RBC. So let me grab the compass and camera out there. So we're shooting 1,000 yards. Boom, grab the compass direction. We're actually 1,002. All right. If you guys stand by, it's telling me to dial 34.9, so 35 minutes. So there's 30. And there's 35. All right. So let me get the long range camera set up and we'll be right back up and running. All right, I got the long range camera out there. Aircraft, Fort Benning's right over there. Yes, Fort Benning is over there. All right, we got a bunch of broken clays, left to right wind. Let me see what the wind speed is. Uh, 3.66 on the wind. All right, so stand by. Okay. All right, very first shot, we're going to shoot at the far left clay right by the elk's nose. And we are going to push left 2.5 minutes. See, high, wind was good. Okay. 2691 on that velocity. All right. 2.5 minutes. Okay, still about the same distance. So we're gonna come down a full minute. 2, 3, 4. All right, all we're doing right now is we're chewing the BCs. Waiting for the suppressor blur to clear. Okay, still half minute high, 1, 2. All right, so this is probably gonna be it. Give me another one. At the same time, I'm getting quite a bit of velocity information. All right, wind just slowed down. I'm gonna cut it down to 1.5. And just under it. Okay, we'll do another one and verify, see if we're 1/4 minute too low. Really blurry with Mr. Suppressor. That one went just over. So we're kind of in there. I'm going to tighten it up in a second, but we're over, under, over, under. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into EB app, and again, we are going to true the BCs at this point, and we're going to check it closer. So, all right, so we are at 2697. So the velocity hasn't changed, zero angle hasn't changed, and we are going to true to BC. So really, we're sitting at 33.5. So 33.5, hit set. It says we have a BC of 0.2747. Hit set and done in 33.5, okay? All right, we're gonna check something up close. So we're gonna type in, let's just say 602 yards, all right? It's telling us 14 minutes. All right, let me see if the camera is on that. Be right back. So the camera is on it. Let's go out to 600 yards. I'm going to put a wind speed of 9 o'clock at 2 miles an hour. It's telling us to push left about 1.5. I think that's too much. Let me check. Oh yeah, it's like 1 mile an hour. We're going to push left 1 minute. We'll use target number 4. Okay, perfect elevation. Looks like the wind was off. Yeah, I knew the wind slowed down. I'm going to shoot it at no wind. Yeah, it's straight up sparkles. I'm going to shoot it at no wind. There you go. All right, let me get a third one. We'll see where that group's at. Helps when you look at the wind. It's just that the suppressor is blurring out the mirage. Okay. That's perfect. All right. So I'm going to double check it again at 1,000. So stand by. We'll type in 1,000 even. And we're going to go to 33.5. Let me start from 0 stop. 33, 1, 2. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back out to 1,000 and check it, and I'll be right back. All righty. Once a week, I shoot at the golf balls just for the fun of it. So we are going to the golf ball. All right, let's see, Mr. Golf Ball. All right, wind is left to right at maybe 0.7. We are going to basically push left 1/2 minute for wind. Just to the right of it, perfect elevation, so it looks like our data is correct. So we'll give it a little bit more wind. You know, if I actually listen to the solver, let's do that. Yeah, it's saying to push left 2 minutes instead of that 1/2 to 3/4 I just did. So let me push left 2 minutes. Missed it by about 1/4 inch. All right. Oh, one more shot at the golf ball, just for the fun of it. Boy, that was a high shot. Oh yeah, 2709. All right, anyway, that's enough at the golf ball. Factory ammo, what do you expect? All right, let me stop the recording on this one, and you can see, as a recap, we mounted the scope and set it up exactly how we hunt and shoot. We tightened up the rings, pushed them forward against the recoil lug, so that way when the gun recoils, the scope is being forced forward from the recoil. We measured our scope height. We used the wedge to get the bottom of the scope level to the actual Picatinny rail. We put our crosshairs across the black pole, and we put the bubble levels level to the crosshairs. And we checked our 0 at 100 yards. And we set everything inside of the ballistic solver, Eagle Ballistics. We trued our ballistic coefficients out at 1,000 or wherever you decide to true them at. And then really this gun is up and running and ready to go. We used a chronograph. We ended up with an extreme spread, just so you guys know. Go to session. Extreme spread was 30.9 feet per second. The standard deviation was 8.5 with an average velocity of 2698. So, and that's using the Garmin and the SIG ammunition with the Sierra Match Kings. So, not bad. All right, at this point, I'm going to program the rangefinder, and we're done, and we're ready for gun number 2. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I know this one's a little long. Stay tuned for more videos.